Hello from the Channel studio in London and welcome to another edition of Foreign Dispatches. I'm Teniola Oyitayo. On the programme this week, hopes and doubts for families of Israeli hostages as Israel and Hamas agree swap deal and pause in fighting. Plus, with over 5,500 killed, children in Gaza struggle to survive amid deadly conflict. Families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza woke up on Wednesday to news of a deal that brought a mix of hope and agony. The uncertainty surrounding the agreement, including the identities of the 50 hostages to be released and the potential for more releases, left an emotional strain on relatives who have been advocating for the release of their loved ones since the Hamas attack in October. The Israeli government voted in the early hours of Wednesday to back the deal, allowing the release of 50 women and children hostages held in Gaza. It also mentioned that for every 10 extra captives released, they would extend the pause in fighting by another day. In exchange, Hamas said Israel would also free 150 Palestinian women and children imprisoned there and allow hundreds of aid trucks to enter Gaza. The deal has been welcomed by world leaders. According to Israeli tallies, Hamas militants took about 240 hostages when its fighters surged into southern Israel on October the 7th and killed 1,200 people. Late on Tuesday, the armed wing of the Palestinian militant group Islamic Jihad, which also took part in the Hamas raid, said one of its Israeli hostages had died. Following news of the deal, families waited anxiously to see which hostages will be released by Hamas.
When I heard this solution that the government make with Hamas, I feel so disappointed because I don't know if my Gali will be with this list that will go home, and I want her as soon as possible. And this feeling, maybe it's not will be. It's make me very sad in this moment.
Any person will be released is good, is important. Eventually we need them all. But if it's had to be slice by slice, so be it. We need to establish this release. The best thing is that everybody will be released at the same time, but as I said, some can stay in that situation for a bit longer and some will not be able to hold on. So we have to start doing the deals and get them back to us.
I think the only thing that I could call justice is bringing everyone back home, but I do understand that it's difficult, and I hope this deal will help us bring everybody back home as well. And I'm really hopeful that they'll come back soon. I won't say disappointing, but it's difficult to know that he's not the first in line, but we do understand it. But we are not going to give up, and we are going to stand here and talk to everyone and do all we can do until he comes back home.
63-year-old Gilad Korngold is hoping for the release of 7 family members.
It's terrible 7 weeks. I think it's never happened in my life for sure, but in the history of the human being, like too many hostages, too many children, too many babies, too many women. I don't know how I feel. Right now, I want to be sure that my family will release at least the grandsons and my daughter-in-law, and then we continue. I go to hug them, kiss them, and I hope and probably they will be in hospital in the first time to get the checkup and everything. But I don't know. I didn't think what I got to do and what I'm going to say.
Since the October attack, Gazan authorities say Israeli bombardments have flattened large parts of the Hamas-ruled enclave, killed more than 13,000 people, and displaced about 2.3 million others. Before the deal was announced, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said US President Joe Biden's intervention had helped to improve the tentative agreement so that it included more hostages and fewer concessions. However, Netanyahu insists that this isn't the end of the war, reiterating Israel's commitment to complete the elimination of Hamas. As attention focused on the hostage release deal, fighting on the ground raged on, with Israel saying its forces had encircled the Jabalia refugee camp, a major urban flashpoint and a Hamas militant stronghold. World Children's Day, celebrated annually on November the 20th, is a global initiative promoting children's rights, safety, education, health and happiness. It comes this year amid Israel's war on Gaza. About half of Gaza's population of 2.3 million people are children. At least 5,500 children have been killed in the conflict so far. Laughter may be a rarer sound in Gaza these days. But at this playground in Khan Yunis, children get some respite from the horrors of war. But the fighting and memories of war are never far away.
All my siblings are crying. I hope the war will end and I can become a doctor and to finish my education. I fear war a lot because half of my friends have died.
This Palestinian mother says her children have been traumatized by the non-stop airstrikes.
If they see a pigeon flying, they think it's a rocket. When a child wakes up, they ask me when these airstrikes will end. If a door closes in the house, they think it's an airstrike. The children have grown older than their true age. They have lived a life that made them older than their actual age. With what they have experienced, they are not children anymore.
Gaza's health ministry says over 5,500 children have been killed in Israel's bombardment. That's out of 13,000 Palestinian fatalities since Hamas's October 7 attack, in which around 1,200 Israelis were killed. An additional 1,800 children are missing under the rubble, most of them presumed dead. A further 9,000 children have been injured, many with life-changing consequences. Many of these children have lived through the trauma of multiple wars. This child had to carry a dead body after an Israeli airstrike on a UN-run school sheltering displaced Palestinians earlier this month.
God will take my vengeance. I was standing here when 3 bombings happened. I carried a body and another decapitated body with my own hands. Where should I go? They have hit the shelters.
With the number of injured rising, hospitals have run out of beds to treat the wounded. This includes many children.
From the first day that the strike started, from Friday until today, They haven't done anything for my daughter. She remained on the floor. No one checking for her. They had no medicine. They had nothing. I'd ask the doctors and they would say, "What do you want us to do? We don't have medicine. We don't have anything." My daughter says, "Please God, she wants to die because of the pain. I've lost all hope. My daughter is dying and I just sit here next to her."
The injured patients that we received from Indonesian hospital are in very bad general conditions. They are severely injured under mechanical ventilation. Their injuries are very serious. They need help, urgent help from many specialties.
4-year-old Ahmad Shabat keeps asking for his parents and that he wants to get up and walk, but his parents are dead and his legs have been amputated.
The child did not only lose his parents, he lost his legs too. He's still a child. What did he do to deserve this? He asks every day, "Where is my father? Where is my mother?" Every single day. But we try very hard to make him forget and adjust to the situation he is currently in.
Hospitals are also seeing an increase in premature births, miscarriages and stillbirths since the beginning of the conflict, as pregnant women face severely strained healthcare, psychological strain and unhygienic conditions, in addition to the physical dangers of the war.
We've got a huge demand from the existing injured. We've got a huge potential demand on the system. 5,500 women are going to give birth in the next month. 15% of them will need a cesarean section. 25% of their children will be born preterm. That is thousands of babies. That's not 31, 29, or 38. That is literally thousands of babies will be born who will be preterm and will need those incubators, will need that kangaroo care, will need their mother with them to be able to provide that. Some of them will need intubation, some will need mechanical ventilation. There's over 1,000 patients on cancer therapy. We have thousands of diabetics, thousands of people with severe hypertension, the normal things of life. We have 20,000 people in need of urgent psychiatric care. The only psychiatric hospital has been closed as well. So we are seeing a complete collapse of the higher level infrastructure of the Gazan health system.
The Israeli army says Hamas uses residential and other civilian buildings as cover for command centers, rocket launch pads, and a vast underground tunnel network. Hamas denies using human shields to wage war. Around 2/3 of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been made homeless, with thousands a day still trekking south on foot with belongings and children in their arms. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who have moved from northern Gaza to the south have been sheltering in UN schools with little access to basic needs. However, they may be forced to move again, as the central and southern parts of the enclave, where Israel has told them to go, have also regularly come under attack. When Foreign Dispatches returns in just a moment, we explore Riyadh's Boulevard world. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on the program. As world leaders prepare to attend the crucial COP28 climate summit in the United Arab Emirates, the United Nations has warned the world is on track for a 3 degrees Celsius global heating. Temperature records have already been broken in 2023, and intensifying heat waves, floods and droughts have taken lives and hit livelihoods across the globe.
The devastation from recent natural disasters in central Greece was clearly visible outside the home of Vasilis and his family in the village of Sesklo. After 2 rainstorms in September, a bridge across this stream was destroyed and water supply lines were uprooted. The family car was also swept away. But Vasilis, who is a farmer and businessman, says that's only part of what his family has endured, as the area also experienced a wildfire in July that scorched their almond grove.
There is nothing else that can happen to me. That is, my fields were burned, my house almost burned down, 2 shops, the 2 businesses that I own were flooded. My house has flooded. I'm a flood victim. I don't have a car. What else can I say? There's nothing else I have.
The storms killed at least 16 people and turned the area into an inland sea, destroying homes, farms, and wiping out swaths of crops. Vasilis and the rest of his family were trapped in the house for 24 hours, but were not hurt. Their crops, including these almond trees, had already been decimated by the fire 2 months ago that burned for 2 days. It occurred during a summer when Greece had its longest heat wave in 30 years.
The weather conditions were so bad. The wind. There was no humidity that day. The fire was moving fast. There was not enough time to do anything.
He says the trees need to be uprooted and new ones to be planted. It will take them 5 years to produce a crop, and it's becoming a part of life here as fierce storms and floods have become more frequent in recent years, making Greece a climate change hotspot. According to the United Nations, the world is on track to warm by nearly 3 degrees Celsius this century.
Today's emissions gap report shows that if nothing changes, in 2030 emissions will be 22 gigatons higher than the 1.5 degree limit would allow. That's roughly the total present annual emissions of the USA, China and the EU combined. It shows greenhouse emissions reaching an all-time highs, a 1.2% increase on the last year, when those levels should be shooting down. And those emissions are shattering temperature records. June, July, August, September and October were all the hottest on record.
The European Parliament called on Tuesday for a global deal to phase out fossil fuels, aiming to add pressure on countries to tackle CO2 emitting oil and gas. The push by EU lawmakers comes before nearly 200 countries meet to discuss stronger climate change action at the COP28 conference in Dubai from November 30 to December 12.
In Dubai, I will advocate tirelessly for a global phase-out of unabated fossil fuels and peaking in consumption this decade, ideally already by 2025, because here again time is running out, that there is no room for new coal power, that we need to move as quickly as possible to a decarbonized power system, that we need to get rid of, and I've said it before, any sort of fossil fuel subsidies other than those addressing energy poverty or a just transition.
Countries agreed under the 2015 Paris Agreement to take action to stop the planet becoming more than 1.5 degrees Celsius hotter than in pre-industrial times, a limit that, if breached, would unleash far more disastrous extreme weather. They are far off track. At 3 degrees Celsius of warming, scientists predict the world could pass several catastrophic points of no return, from the runaway melting of ice sheets to the Amazon rainforests drying out.
And finally on the program, it's Riyadh season in Saudi Arabia, meaning there are hundreds of exhibitions from around the world, showcasing culture, tradition, and perhaps a few lessons in history. At the Boulevard World, visitors get to see favorite landmarks, experience unique treats and cultural aspects of each country's. Our foreign affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
It's a long ride from the hotel to the Boulevard World, one which started late in the afternoon and saw us arrive at our destination when it was already dark. Welcome to Boulevard World, part of Riyadh season this year. Nothing prepared us for what we were about to see. From replicas of movies past and present, we're transported to countries such as China and Syria, where visitors are treated to street-sold coffee or tea and local treats. Then we segue into the Iranian exhibition, where the sale of precious stones and jewelry seem to be the favorite merchandise.
We bring it Iran, a stone of Iran, high quality natural stone like emerald, like ruby, like sapphire, like agate. Which kind of stone do you like it? We have here, and we can make a bracelet, necklace, earring, anything you want it. You know, in all world, precious stone is expensive, you know. It's not a synthetic stone, it's high quality of stones, like emerald, like ruby.
Even the little children got excited at seeing our camera and wanted to say hello.
Your name? Huh? What's your name? This is Fahudi. Fahudi. Oh, how old is Fahudi? Yes.
Morocco, the first African country that we're entering into, well, the exhibition actually, here at the Boulevard. You know, Boulevard is like a potpourri of, you know, different countries and cultures in one place for people of Saudi Arabia to get an understanding of the world that they live in and other people who live in it. We also get to see local jewelry and watch the painstaking art of rug making and shoe making. Italy is up next in our sights.
قالوا ميت هلا حياكم الله زورونا في ايطاليا تشرفونا وتنورونا قالوا سهلا يا مرحبا.
It's the home of favorite pizza parlors and the famous tiramisu.
What we do is each country we brought something coming from their tradition. So we brought this one, which is you just pictured is the tiramisu, and we serve it the way of the Italian they serve it. And also we have fried pizza, which is coming from Milano.
Let's go, guys, fast, because you want to finish and cook, and because you want to go Europe directly. خلاص. الله يطول.
A final stop is the city of love, Paris, where you can see the Arc de Triomphe and the Eiffel Tower, the street attractions reminiscent of the city itself. Riyadh Season is an annual state-funded entertainment and sports festival, started as part of 11 entertainment festivals carried out by Saudi Seasons Initiative that was launched in 2019.
And that's the program today. But remember, our top stories are never far away. You can catch them on channelstv.com. Thank you for watching. I'm Teniola Oyetayo. Bye for now.